Okay, Shalom. This is the Belly Yahweh from the member of YSO Yahweh shall sanctify ones and foremost and start off by giving our honors and praises and glories to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem, Crocodiles, credible honors to the apostles of GMS, Great Millstone, the brothers out there that are willing to keep teaching brothers around the four corners of the earth. Okay, salute towards you, brothers. And today's video lesson is going to be about Cain and Abel / King David and Saul's story about jealousy, right? Because for those that have heard the story about Cain killing his brother Abel and Saul being jealous and stuff like that. But this is Genesis. This is Genesis chapter 4, verse 1. And Adam knew Eve, his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain, and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord. And she again bare his brother Abel, and Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. And in the process of time, it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground and offered unto the Lord. And Abel, he also brought of the firstling of his flock and of the fat thereof. And the Lord had respect unto Abel and to his offering, right? So the Lord had respect for Abel because why? Because Abel had brought of the firstling of his flock and of the fat thereof, right? But unto Cain and to his offering he had not respect. And Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell, right? And that word wroth is like angry, right? Anger. And the Lord said unto Cain, why art thou wroth, and why is thy countenance fallen? If thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted? And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door, and unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. And Cain talked with Abel his brother. And it came to pass when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Abel his brother and slew him, right? And that word slew means killed, right? So Cain was jealous because the Lord gave Abel more respect than he did, and Cain took Abel, which was his brother, in the field and ended up killing him. Okay. Now this is 1 Samuel chapter 18. And it came to pass, this is 1 Samuel 18 verse 1, and it came to pass when he had made an end of speaking unto Saul, that the soul of Jonathan was knit with the soul of David, right? And that word knit means like tied together, right? So Jonathan and King David had a connection with each other, right? Like a brotherly love connection. And Jonathan loved him as his own soul. And Saul took him that day and would let him go no more home to his father's house. Then Jonathan and David made a covenant because he loved him as his own soul, right? And when we're in this truth, we're supposed to have brotherly love, right? We are supposed to love one another, right? We're not supposed to hate each other. We're not supposed to be jealous. And Jonathan stripped himself of the robe that was upon him and gave it to David, right? So Jonathan took all his clothes off and also gave David his woman, okay, and his garments, even to his sword, and to his bow, and to his girdle. And David went out whithersoever Saul sent him, and behaved himself wisely. And Saul set him over the men of war, and he was accepted in the sight of all the people, and also in the sight of Saul's servant. And it came to pass, as they came, when David was returned from the slaughter of the Philistines, that the woman came out of all cities of Israel, singing and dancing to meet King Saul, with tabrets, with joy, and with instruments of music. And the woman answered one another as they played, and said, Saul has slain his thousands, and David his 10,000s. So Saul has killed thousands of men, and David has killed 10,000s. And Saul was very wroth, right? And Saul was very angry, and the saying displeased him, right? And why was he pleased? Because the lady had said that David his 10,000s, because David had killed 10,000, okay? And he said, they have ascribed unto David 10,000, and to me they have ascribed but thousands. And what can he have more but the kingdom? And Saul eyed David from that day and forward, right? And when you eye someone, you're like thinking of wickedness in your head, trying to plot on them, okay? And it came to pass on the morrow that the evil spirit from the Most High came upon Saul, and he prophesied in the midst of the house, and David played with his hand, as at other times, and there was a javelin in Saul's hand. And that word javelin is a sphere. Okay, for those that don't know. Where's First Samuel? First Samuel 18 verse 10, right? And a javelin is a spear, okay? And Saul cast the javelin, for he said, I will smite David even to the wall with it. And David avoided out of his presence twice. And Saul was afraid of David, because the Lord was with him and was departed from Saul. Right. So then, not only that, you could also compare King David and Saul to Cain and Abel, right? Because if the Lord had respect for Abel, then that means that the Lord also had respect for King David. Because why? Because that story about King David going against the Philistines, and King David has said that I come in the name of the Lord of hosts, right? And Saul was afraid of David because the Lord was with him and was departed from Saul, right? So Saul was jealous because David killed more men than him, right? And Cain was also jealous because the Lord had more respect for his brother Abel, right? So this whole video compares them to, about jealousy and stuff like that. All right, but I hope this video was edifying enough. Brothers out there, keep teaching, keep preaching no matter what, and do not give up on yourselves. And with that, shalom.